Perfect grade RX-178 Gundam Mark II.
Starting off with the A plate here, it looks like you're going to get treated to a couple of different colors, red, yellow, and clear. And it looks like covers for the outside of the shoulder, a very massive V-fin, actually probably as long as a master grade arm, if not a little shorter. Some parts I don't recognize. This will be the collar to the outside of the head. These look like independent moving vents for the chest. This chin area looks about as big as a master grade head. That's amazing. Looks like you have the light piping for the eyes section, cockpit and ejection pod system. That is going to be the door to the cockpit. These look like the bazooka missiles, among some other parts, and these really nice detailed. If you look on the inside of the boosters, there is some detail, so that'll be really nice when it's painted up. The B plate looks like it's just for your feet. There's some detail in there. There's not too much, but it should look good when it's painted up. Now the C plate will be a very nice light black in color, starting off with the lower part of the shield, and I'm pretty sure that this slides down and up. And here's some parts that I cannot recognize, possibly part of the shield. This looks like it's going to go on top of another part. And this will be the outside armor for your chest and the back of the chest, in addition to the armor covering the door and parts that look like part of the shoulder. Part D is plated in all chrome ABS plastic, as you will get. Piston parts for the arms, the waist, and the feet. Plate E looks to contain all the outer connections for the pistons, and something that looks like the inner guard part where the hand will connect, but I'm not so sure that that's the actual part. The F plate looks like it has your front and back skirts to it. The front skirts appear to be independently movable. However, I'm a little, you know what? I was going to say I was a little disappointed with the back plate in that it looks like it can't independently move, but perhaps that's by design of the Mark II. And these parts look like they go over the lower waist. You're going to get two massive G plates, and starting off in the upper left corner looks like armor for the upper shoulder, but not quite the shoulder, but the upper arm. And that definitely looks like a shoulder plate. This may be a beam saber hilt, I'm not quite sure. This looks like parts that will be for the foot, the upper foot. I'm not quite sure what these parts are up in here. And looks like you'll get some of the same on the bottom here. Just looks like duplicate parts, again, for the shoulder and possibly front of the shoulder in between the chest and the arm. For the H plate, it kind of looks like they bundled parts to the lower leg and the shin here with the head. So starting off in the upper left corner, looks like you may get parts for the shin armor. I'm not quite sure what those are. Let's see what else we have here. If we go over to the right, these look like parts to the lower shin, the fronts and the backs. These look like the handguards up here, although I can't be quite sure. This looks like a part to the head camera. These are obviously sides to the head, to the panels that'll come out, and that is fantastic, by the way. These look like parts to the side of the head. That is going to be the face mask. The eye plate looks like it's going to have all of your fingers here. Those are some massive digits, and I've heard that they can move independently. And what else do we have here? These look like, I can't be 100% sure, but these look like joint parts, as well as some more piston parts, and I'm not quite sure what this is over here, but in the bottom right corner, you can see that they already did the mask and painted it up so that the light gimmick will show through the eyes, so thanks Bandai. Essentially, I don't have to paint that now. The J plate's going to have a couple of features as well as the rest of the main shield and bazooka, so in the upper left corner, these look like parts for the shield. This will obviously be your lower end of the shield. Up here will be you can see some of the connector detail for the upper part of the shield. I actually wonder if they're going to have a clear visor for the blast hole here. And down here, you're going to get a 1/60th pilot, and that's absolutely huge for a Gundam. And if you wanted to recreate a scene, I know a couple people online have recreated scenes with 3 floating spacemen working on the Mark II. But I won't be doing that. And down here, it looks like you have some very nice detail for the bazooka. Now, I'm not quite sure what the K plate here represents, but if you start in the upper left corner, looks like parts for perhaps the leg or the side of the waist, and down here it looks like caps for the outside of the leg joints where it meets the lower waist. These could perhaps be lower waist detail. These look like side chest detail, but I can't be exactly sure. And the rest looks like the joints and detail. So the L plate's going to give you a couple of nice tidbits. Looks like some joint parts, and I can't tell what some of these parts are, but you can see the fantastic lining detail that's in here. I'm probably going to go in there and paint those, I guess you could call them conduits. And this will be the part for the top of the lower waist that looks like it's well detailed. I'm not quite sure what these two guys here are. Perhaps, you know what, actually this is probably the supports that the cockpit/ejection system fits into. The M1 plate continues with parts for the lower waist as well as the bazooka ammo pack. And I'm not actually sure how many of these you're going to get in the kit. But there's also, it looks like some inner leg detail, something that looks like a barrel, and some more detail parts. The M2 plate continues on with parts for what appears to be parts for the backpack, possibly a barrel for the main beam rifle. And one thing over here in the bottom right corner that I love is that the cockpit chair is actually very, very detailed. So one can wonder how much detail you could put into the perfect grade version. So with the end plate, you're going to get a lot of detail, and this looks like the main frame for the chest. And you can see a ton of detail in these parts here. These look like parts for the side chest. Some other miscellaneous parts. These look like the hands, and those are absolutely huge. And these look like back thruster parts to the backpack. The O1 plate here is going to give you a lot of fantastic opportunities for detailing, what with all the conduits and places where you can do some panel lining. These look like inner frame parts, possibly to the neck. That looks like a part to the shield. This is definitely a part, possibly to the lower waist, where the legs will join, as well as a back portion to the inner frame of the lower waist. The O2 plate is going to give you more parts for the backpack unit, and these are absolutely massive. It also looks like it's going to give you parts for the light gimmick, as well as possibly a part for the head, but these are definitely parts for the backpack, possibly the inner frame for the back of the chest as well. And I gotta say, there is plenty of detail to go here. The P plate offers parts that look like they're for the bazooka. You can see these really large handles here, along with some other parts up here that appear to be possibly for the ammo pack, but you will also notice the inner frame for the head. The Q plate offers more parts that are made out of ABS plastic, and these appear to be for the arms and the shoulders. Again, there's a lot of detail on these parts, and it's going to be really fun to go back in here, prime, paint, and sand everything. Winding down our list with the R plate, you're going to see in the upper left corner some fantastic detail for these boosters. And I know those are going to go onto the back of the backpack unit, and those are going to look fantastic. Again, I'm not sure if these are for the side of the backpack unit or the shoulders or whatnot, but there's a lot of fantastic detail. I'm going to love going in there and painting all the individual wires and conduits and whatnot. Now, I skipped the S plate because all you're going to get are two of those, and those are just the poly caps. But moving on to the T and the U plates together, since they're so small, look at how big this Buster rifle is. I cannot wait to assemble and detail that. And if you notice, you can see some details on the conduits out here, and that's fan-freaking-tastic as well. You got some pipe details up here, and these four parts here, I have no clue what those are. But if you look at the T plate. We just went over the U plate. If I said we went over the T plate, we went over the U plate. You're going to see the accent details that cover the boosters, and these are going to be all orange. And I thought these were really weird colors, and I'm hoping something goes over these parts that are 11 and 12, these hoses, because it would be an absolute shame if those were meant to be molded on a perfect grade, and I just don't think that's proper. And I'm not quite sure what these are in the bottom left corner here, but I do know. You know what? I don't know, but they do look like vent pieces, and I can't wait to see where all these go, and you'll get 2 T-plates. Now that wraps up my quick look at the plates, but it does not wrap up my review of the parts. So we're going to go through each of the sub-assemblies now, and I'll show you the parts in greater detail. If you have any questions or comments, drop them down in the line below, and let me know. Thanks for watching.